It's time for the second episode of Add This Unit, the series where I talk about a character that isn't in Heroes and theorize how they will be added to the game. Last episode I covered Erk, and while it's a little boring to talk about another mage, I want to cover this character before it's too late. So for all you Three Houses fans, today we're covering Lysithea, the Scholar of Misfortune. And don't you worry if you're afraid of spoilers, I'm only going to be covering the most basic plot points about her character and designing her kit as if she were a pre-time skip unit, because that's all we've really gotten in Fae so far. So without further ado, let's start. Three Houses is hot right now, so an introduction to this character may seem a bit pointless, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Lysithea is the eldest daughter and heir to House Ordalia, which is part of the Leicester Alliance. But most importantly, she's a student of the Golden Deer House at the Garrigmach Monastery. She may be one of the youngest students enrolled at the academy, but the last thing she wants is to be treated like a child. To make up for this, Lysithea does everything in her power to maximize her abilities, whether that means training her magical skills or studying up in the library for days at a time. So don't you dare use words like talent around her. Lysithea feels that her prowess stems from her hard work and determination. She's a bit of a walking contradiction though, because she still portrays childlike traits like savoring candy, being afraid of ghosts, and having a baby face. Okay, that last one's not really fair, but once you bring up any of those points to her, she'll turn around and bite your head off. While she can be warm and friendly, she also tears down anyone who annoys her with hard-hitting truths and insults that sometimes go a bit too far. But to be fair, it's really hard not to pick on her, especially when you walk in on her shoveling cake down her throat. While you can technically class Lysithea to fit any fighting style you want, there really are only a few viable paths with stats like hers. She does have a hidden talent in swords, and she does have the Crest of Cairn, which would allow her to use Catherine's Thunderbrand, but yeah, at the end of the day, the safer bet is just to teach her reason and faith. Some people may find Lysithea's character to be annoying, but the one thing that they can't deny is her power to absolutely nuke any enemy that stands in her path, at least on hard mode, especially this guy.
Like moths to a flame.
A wonderful nuke mage coming in a package with a cute appearance and a vicious bite, Lysithea really proves herself as one of the most offensive-oriented students you can choose from while teaching at the academy. So let's talk about her stats. I made this spread with a 162 BST in mind, and even though we just got a certain red trainee mage with a higher BST, I don't think Lysithea is a trainee in her respective game. In Three Houses, Lysithea is naturally a glass cannon with an incredible 60% growth rate in magic and dex, and a 50% rate in speed. However, she does boast 20% HP, 10% defense, and 25% res growth, so she can't take much punishment. It's still debatable how important growths are in Three Houses, but this is what I'm going to be basing her hero stat line on, because I feel like it represents her playstyle the best. 40 attack at neutral would push her to be the highest attack mage in the game at the moment, and I think that's how she should be used, as a nuke. I gave her 31 speed despite being a pretty speedy character in Three Houses, and that's because in that game, having a low strength stat cripples your speed. I guess those books are a bit too heavy for her. Lysithea really takes a hit to her speed due to this, so it made sense to give her a mediocre speed stat that won't allow her to double 2/3 of the cast. This speed along with her HP, defense, and res stats will make it so you have to play carefully while using Lysithea. Now for her skills. With feedback from the last video, I'm going to try and make it a standard for Add This Unit to come up with 3 different categories of kits. Keep in mind that I'm basing my predictions off the fact that this character will drop in the next 3 to 12 months, and by the time they actually do, my kits will probably be outdated in terms of power creep. So for Kit 1, I'm going to be treating Lysithea as a premium unit on the banner that everybody wants to pull for. Kit 2 will treat her as a banner unit that isn't premium, kind of like Hubert or Mercedes, and demotion doesn't matter. And Kit 3 will be treating her as a GHB or Tempest Trial reward, and not the good kind. Lysithea learns dark magic, so for all 3 kits, I'm going to be making her a red infantry mage. Personally, what I think most people know her for is her spell that she learns at Reason rank B. Dark Spike's Tau. Although it isn't exactly a PRF to her, I'm going to be making it a PRF tome because Hubert's already in the game. Dark Spikes will grant an additional 3 attack and be effective against cav foes. Because that's not enough to separate it from a normal wolf tome, I gave it a new effect which will help her dismantle enemy cav pressure. If Lysithea has higher attack than an enemy cav unit in a cardinal direction of her, that unit's movement is reduced to 1, kinda like gravity. My justification for this is that the horses are so scared of her that they don't want to approach, and I think it gives Lysithea a unique niche and a way to ensure that she can play her phase cav units with superior mobility. I chose Iceberg for her special as a shout out to Soul Blade, a skill which gives her bonus damage depending on her res stat, and with Mirror Impact in her A slot, she can boost how hard her Iceberg will hit on the player phase. An impact skill would cover her speed stat on the player phase, making her more viable to use. Null Sea Disrupt was chosen literally to screw over cav healers like Veronica, making Lysithea a prime unit to deal with any cav comps you run into. And for her C slot, I made up a new skill to heroes called Warp. Lysithea is notorious in 3 houses for being one of the few units who can learn the skill, and it makes her a great mobility tool when trying to clear maps. The way it's going to work in Heroes is if she's adjacent to an allied unit, that unit can move up to 3 spaces away. While it seems like this wouldn't have any effect on cavalry units, you would still be capable of warping them over terrain like trees or mountains, as long as there's a field tile for them to land on. This skill would be inheritable to infantry, armored, and flying tome and staff units, because warp is very prevalent in the Fire Emblem series, but allowing a skill like this on a 3-move unit seems like it could be a bit imbalanced. So, does this kit potentially make Lysithea the next Cancer, like Legendary Azure or Legendary Lucina? Quite possibly yes, but do I feel like it reflects her character? I'd like to think so. I personally think warp is going to be added to Heroes soon in a bite-sized manner such as this, so we'll have to just wait and see. Kit 2 treats Lysithea as a banner unit that isn't the main focus. I came up with a new animal tome called the Rar Hawk. No reason whatsoever for picking that bird. The Hawk tomes would just come with Deathblow built in, and they would be inheritable and refinable, much like the other Animal Plus tomes. Luna is a skill that Dark Mages are known for, so it made sense to stick it on Lysithea. Attack Res Solo would help her hit harder while being able to enemy phase magical threats as long as she's isolated. Panic Smoke doesn't really translate all that well for Lysithea, but I like to think that when someone gets exploded by her magic, everyone around her starts to panic. Right now, Panic Smoke is only available on Thracier, so for it to be added into the regular pool, although it would probably be a 5-star locked skill, would be a nice addition. I don't think the scenario is likely to happen for a character like Lysithea, but I'm going to be thorough with my format and theorize for it anyway. This kit will give Lysithea Rar Wolf, which is what most people know Lysithea for, her ability to blow up horses. Although Lysithea doesn't have rally skills in 3 houses, I really wanted to put Res Feint in her B slot, so giving her a buff assist really completed this kit. I chose Res Feint because it's not in the free-to-play pool yet, and it works pretty well as an assisting B slot for player phase units to score critical kills. Odd Attack Wave also is not available in the free-to-play pool, so the design of this kit was to add some skills that aren't available on 4 stars yet, and yes, Rally Attack Speed is still 5-star locked, but this kit drives home the idea that Lysithea provides utility and raw magic power. So do I think Lysithea will be added soon? Personally, whenever IS decides to launch another 3 houses banner, I think it's extremely likely. And I also think it's extremely likely for her to be a premium, but IS has definitely shocked me before with some of their decisions regarding popular characters. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Add This Unit. I looked at some of the suggestions in the comments for who to cover next, so I'm keeping that in mind. If you have any feedback for this video regarding the format, stats, kits, or even a future character you want me to cover, feel free to let me know, and thanks for watching. Until next time, SpeedyHawk out.